This show is produced by the Harwood Podcast Network.
Hi, I'm Cindy Harris, and we love making this show available to you free of charge. If you'd like to help us keep it that way, make a contribution to our Karma Jar or become a show sponsor. To learn more, visit our website. Tonight I've baked a stuffed chicken breast, and I've made a filling that has 3 different kinds of cheeses, some chopped apple, and some dried cranberry. I recently got an email from a viewer who said she'd had a dish similar to this and was wondering if I could recreate it so she could make it at home for her family. Now I'm going to begin by making the filling for the chicken breast. So I have just a medium-sized bowl. I'm going to be mixing the ingredients together with a fork, and I'm going to start with the cheeses. Now I have about 2 ounces of Brie, and Brie is a nice soft ripened cheese, and it does have a rind on it. Now normally you can totally eat the rind, but because I'm going to be mixing this and mashing it together with other ingredients, I am going to take my knife and just pull that rind off, and then I'm just going to break that up with my hands and put that in the bowl, along with 1/4 cup of shredded cheddar cheese and 1/4 cup of shredded mozzarella cheese. And now I'm going to take my fork and I'm going to kind of mash those cheeses together just a little bit. Next I have 1 apple, and you can use any kind of apple you like. This is a Gala apple. And I'm going to take one of the faces of the apple off, and you see I've cut just this side of the core. And then I'm going to chop this much like I do an onion, where I cut it horizontally, and then I run my knife through it to make some strips like this. And then I'm going to gather that together and run my knife through it. Now these are still fairly big pieces, and for this filling I need it to be finer. I'm just going to keep running my blade through it. And I want them to be sort of a small dice, and then I'll measure out 1/4 cup and put that in with my cheeses. Then I have some dried cranberries, and I'm going to measure out 1/4 cup of those. And then I'm also going to run my blade through them just a little bit. I want them to be about the same size as the pieces of apple. And then I'll put that in the bowl, along with a pinch or 2 of salt and a couple cracks of black pepper. And now I'm going to take my fork and I'm going to mix all of that together. Now if you want, you can take your hands and kind of pull it together like this too, and that may even be quicker for you. So you can see I can get most of that together, and that'll work really nicely when we're stuffing our chicken. Now I'm going to put my filling in the refrigerator and get my chicken ready. Now for our chicken, I have 4 chicken breasts, and these are boneless and skinless. And we're going to need to pound them out. And one of the best ways is if you have one of these kind of meat pounders. Now usually it has one side that's very kind of pointy like this and a flat side. Now the pointy side you would use if you wanted to tenderize, say, a tough cut of beef. But because this is chicken, we want to use the nice smooth side so it doesn't break the chicken apart. Now when we pound the chicken, I like to use a zip bag because the plastic is really thick, but you could also use a couple of sheets of plastic wrap and just put your chicken between it. You don't need to seal it up or anything like that. And then you grab your pounder and you just carefully pound the chicken out. Now you're going to see there's one end that's always a bit thicker, and the object is to try to get the chicken about the same thickness, which is about 1/4 inch. And then you can see when we're done here, the chicken is all about the same thickness. Now that's great for 2 things. 1, it's great for rolling up, and 2, it's great because it will cook much more evenly. So I'm going to set this breast here, and then I'll take the rest and pound them out. And here's our 4th piece of chicken. Now it's time to stuff our chicken. I've gone ahead and cut 4 pieces of aluminum foil, and we're going to use this not only to stuff our chicken on, but then we're going to wrap it up in it as well. So I've got my filling out of the refrigerator, and I'm going to divide this into 4 equal pieces. And now I'm going to take one of the pieces of chicken, and you'll notice that there's kind of a thin end and a wide end. I want the wide end closest to me, and the thin end is towards you. And I'm going to take that, lay it on my foil, and I'm going to take 1/4 of my cheese mixture, and I'm going to place it right on top of the chicken. Now I want to make sure that I leave a border all the way around, so this is just going to kind of fit in the center, just like that. And I'm going to take the end closest to me, the wide end, and I'm going to roll this up as tightly as I can. And then with the seam side down, I'm going to take the foil and continue wrapping it. And then for the ends, I'm going to twist it like this. So you can see this is really going to kind of shape this stuffed chicken breast. And I'm just going to put it back on my plate, and then I'll get another piece of foil and do the same thing. Now I'm going to take my little plate full of the stuffed chicken breast. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator for at least an hour. And the reason I do that is that helps the cheese and the chicken sort of get cold, and they'll hold this shape much better than if I don't chill them. Now what's great about this is if you wanted to serve this for a dinner party, you could easily make these early in the morning or even the night before and keep them in the refrigerator overnight, and then bake them off closer to your dinner party. Now we're going to get things set up to bread our chicken. So I have 3 of these little breading trays, which are great if you do this kind of breading very often. If you don't do this kind of thing much, you can just use 3 dishes or 3 plates. That'll work fine. In my first little tray, I have a cup of flour that I'm going to put out. In the second tray, I have 3 eggs, a tablespoon of olive oil, and a tablespoon of water. And I'm going to take my fork and I'm going to whisk this together. We want to make sure that those eggs are totally broken up. And in the last tray, I have some panko, which is a wonderful Japanese bread crumb. And it's really not a crumb, it's actually bread that has been flaked. It's wonderful, it makes a really crispy breading. I have a cup of that, and I'm going to sprinkle that into my last dish. Now, when you go to bread something, there's a little bit of an art form to it, and let me show you how I do it. I'm going to take one of my chicken breasts, and you can see after just an hour how well this sticks together. You don't need to put toothpicks in it or anything. I'm going to move my foil off to the side, and then I'm going to take my tongs and I'm going to roll this first in the flour. And I want to dust it all over, and then I want to kind of pat some of that excess flour out. Now I'm going to take and roll it in my egg. And this is going to start creating this really interesting layer of breading that is wonderful. Now once you roll it in the egg, you do want to let it drip off a little bit. And then you want to roll it in the panko. Now you'll notice that I'm using my tongs to help move it around because I don't want to get my hands all goopy. Breading can be very, very messy. But if I just deal with the dry ingredients with my hand, then we'll be just fine. I want to get a nice coating. And then I'm going to place this seam side down just on my board for now. And then I'll go ahead and do the same with the other 3 chicken breasts. Now I've got a large pan. This is about a 9 by 13 pan. And I'm going to take and just drizzle about a tablespoon or so of olive oil in the pan. I'm going to take a little piece of paper towel and just move that all around the bottom of the pan. Now you think we would go ahead and put our chicken right in this, but I actually want the chicken to sear a little bit, so I'm going to take this oiled pan and I'm going to put it in a preheated 375-degree oven for just 3 minutes. Now this pan is really, really hot, so you want to make sure you've got some oven mitts or gloves. And I'm going to take each of the chicken breasts, I'm going to put them right on the pan, seam side down, and then I'm going to take a little bit of olive oil, just about a tablespoon. I'm just going to lightly drizzle some on the top. So I'm going to place these in the oven at 375 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes. And here they are. And I want to take one out and show you what the inside looks like. And the panko's nice and crispy on the outside. And then, can you see in there? Look at all that great filling. Now, if you'd like to try these stuffed chicken breasts at home, just go to our website and go to the Easy Entertaining show notes, and I'll have the recipe there for you. Don't forget to check out all the great badges you can earn from the network, and we hope you'll join us on Facebook. If you've got any questions or ideas for me, please send me an email, and I'll see you next time.